Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be making macaroons. Although the task might seem quite daunting, they're quite simple and easy, and great to make for when you're having guests over. To start, we're going to combine 112 grams of almond meal with 216 grams of icing sugar. To this, we're then going to add 3 grams of salt. Whisk to combine. After you've combined your dry ingredients, you want to separate out 3 eggs. So you have the whites in one part and the yolks in the other. We're going to be using the whites today. When you're separating your eggs, you need to make sure that there's no yolks in the white. Otherwise, your eggs won't whip up properly and you won't be able to get a good meringue. Once you've separated your whites from your yolks, set aside your yolks in case you want to use them for something else. Then wipe down your bench and grab a medium-sized bowl. To this you're going to add your egg whites. Then what you want to do is you want to whisk them with an electric mixer until soft peaks form. Once soft peaks have formed, it should look like this. You should be able to pick your whisk up and a peak come up, but then slowly fall over. This is how you know when your soft peaks have formed. Once this has happened, you want to slowly incorporate 56 grams of white sugar. You need to do this slowly because otherwise you will knock the air out of your whites. Continue whisking your egg whites while slowly adding your sugar until stiff peaks have formed and you've added all of your sugar to your whites. Once stiff peaks have formed, you should be able to pick your whisk up and the peak hold its shape. Once you've achieved this, you can add any colouring you want to your egg whites. This will be the colour of your macaron shells. When you're adding your colour, you want to add a bit more than the colour that you want, as it will lighten up a bit in the oven. Once you've got the colour that you want, you can put your mixer away. Once you've gotten the colour that you want, add your dry ingredients to your whites. Then, slowly and gently fold in your dry ingredients. You need to do this very gently, otherwise you will knock the air out of your whites. Once you've folded in all of your dry ingredients, continue to fold the mixture until you can form a full figure 8 after picking up your spatula without the mixture breaking. Once you've achieved this, stop mixing immediately. Once your mixture is ready, place it into a piping bag with a round tip on the end. If you don't have any piping bags, you can just use a plastic bag or a Ziploc bag like I'm using here. Once your mixture is in your piping bag, what you want to do is get 2 lined baking sheets and start piping on your mixture. You want it to be about 1 to 1.5 inches in diameter. This will give you a good sized macaroon. When you're piping on your macaroons, it is very important at the end of each macaroon to flick off the top. Otherwise, you may get small bits that stick out the top of your macaroon once they're finished cooking. Pipe on all of your batter onto your trays and repeat on other trays if necessary. Then leave at room temperature uncovered for half an hour so they can dry out and form a thin layer on top. This is so that when they cook, instead of the air going up, it pushes down and forms the foot of the macaroon. Once your macaroons have sat for half an hour, place them into an oven that's been preheated to 140 degrees to cook for 18 minutes. Once your macaroons have finished cooking, remove them from the oven and allow them to cool on the tray for 1 to 2 minutes before removing. To take the macaroons off the tray, use a thin flipper and get it underneath the macaroon. Then gently pull it up off of the tray and put on a wire cooling rack. Take your macaroons off of both of your trays and place them on the wire cooling rack until they are completely cold. If you try to ice them while they're still warm, the icing will melt. Just before your macaroons have finished cooling, start making the icing. We're going to be making a simple buttercream icing. To do this, you're going to add 56 grams of softened butter to a medium-sized bowl and beat until it starts to turn white. To your butter, then add 90 grams of icing sugar and continue beating until all of your icing sugar is incorporated into the butter. Once all of your icing sugar is incorporated, add half a teaspoon of milk and continue beating to mix in. Once you've added your milk, your icing should look like this. It should look nice and white and have a smooth consistency. Then, if you would like to add any flavouring to the icing, add it now and beat in. Once you've added flavouring to your icing, put your beater away and get a piping bag and put your icing into the piping bag, ready to pipe onto your macaroon shells. Now that your icing is ready and your macaroon shells are cool, it's time to assemble your macaroons. To do this, what you're going to want to do is add about half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of icing to half of your macaroon shells, or do it with as much icing as you have. Once you've added the icing to your shells, take another shell that's about the same size and sandwich it on top. Repeat with all of your iced shells. Now that your macaroons are finished, serve them and enjoy.